Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online VGC 20 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out a really fun Porygon Z team that was built by a player called Fevzi. You guys may recognize him because he actually won the Champions Cup a couple of months ago. Fevzi actually used this tournament in kind of a casual, fun tournament this past weekend, and he was able to win the whole thing. It was featuring a bunch of VGC streamers. I actually played in it as well, and it was really fun. I was using the Gudra team that we were previously using on Road to Rank, so I finished 4th and actually lost to Fevzi, who was using this team. So Fevzi is a really cool guy, really excellent player. I've linked his Twitter and Twitch in the description below, so feel free to give him a follow. And Fevzi actually based this team off a team that actually qualified for the Players Cup Finals, built by another player called Jiseok Lee. I think it has 5 to 6 same Pokemon. That team originally, I believe, had a Charizard over the Rotom. But this team obviously has a lot of cool stuff. Clefairy Porygon is a very strong combination in VGC 2020 right now. You've got Rotom kind of as a counter to Sun. As you can see, Nasty Plot means with the safety goggles you can set up in front of Pokemon like Venusaur and just wall it pretty hard. And then just a lot of support in the Incineroar and the Rillaboom. And finally, Urshifu just kind of as a damage dealer. Urshifu becomes a lot stronger when you have, max strike speed control through Porygon Z. So, of course, this is a rental team. Feel free to try it out yourselves. And let's just jump into today's episode. Thanks again to Fevzi for providing the team. You can find him linked in the description below. Question of the day, I actually kind of want to talk about Urshifu right now because I think it's a really interesting Pokemon, and I am curious what you guys think about Urshifu. Do you think it's actually a good Pokemon in VGC 2020? Have you tried it out yourselves? To me, I thought it was a Pokemon that had a lot of potential, but I felt like people really weren't using it properly right when the format started. However, now seeing people use it, I think Focus Sash has become a very common item, and I think it's a very strong option because even getting just one close combat or surging strikes off is really powerful. Of course, there's 2 different types of Urshifus you can use as well. I'm also curious on everyone's thoughts. Do you think the dark type or the water type is stronger right now? And if so, what's your reasoning? Which one do you prefer? I think both are definitely viable options in competitive right now, so eager to see what people say about it. But Urshifu is a Pokemon that a lot of players actually ended up using in the Players Cup, and a fair amount of players who actually made it to the finals of that tournament had an Urshifu on their team. So I think it's interesting because it does have a lot of potential and its ability is just absolutely insane, but obviously not exactly the bulkiest Pokemon, which is why you often see Focus Sash carried on it. So that's enough about Urshifu though. Excited to feature Porygon Z. It's just one of the strongest attackers in the game. Really powerful max strikes. And Max Darkness also allows you to lower special defense, meaning you get even stronger max strikes. And it's like, if you max Darkness and then go for like Helping Hand max strike, you could potentially even knock out Pokemon that resist you normally if they're not Dynamax. So many strong combinations from the Clefairy and the Porygon. So let's just look for our first opponent of the day. And as always, if you guys enjoy, please share your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks to all the love for yesterday's episode. I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed the collaboration with Brendan. It's still crazy to me that we hit 200 episodes of Road to Rank. So thank you for all the support throughout the season. And yeah, excited to just keep making content for you guys. And we also got verified on YouTube today, which is kind of hype after a very long time. So that's cool to see. Okay, so first thing to note, my opponent does not have a single resist or immune to normal. No steals, no ghosts. So Porygon looks very good right from the start. What I'm thinking of is just leading Porygon plus the Clef and just going for like Follow Me Max Strike. Turn 1. That actually seems really strong. Who do we want in the back? I love some of these names, by the way. I believe they're in German, and they're just so great. Rotom is interesting for Charizard and Togekiss. Incineroar for Intimidate's always pretty valuable, though. Just double checking the spreads here. Okay, we have Lash Out, which is pretty cool. A little bit more offensive. There's U-turn, but no parting shot. I'd only really be intimidating the Cinderace. That alone is kind of valuable, though. I think Togekiss is pretty scary. So I'm going to go with Rotom and the Urshifu. Alright, let's try it out. The goal normally with Porygon Z teams is you just max on turn 1 and you get so much damage off that you often just win the game off those first 3 turns. However, in countering Porygon Z, it's all about basically switches and protects. What's good for us in this one is that our opponent doesn't have any great switches, because Max Strike is just neutral against everything. So it should just be able to one-shot almost the entire team. Okay, it's going to be Togekiss Cinderace. What do I want to go for here? Follow me, Max Strike is very safe here. Yeah, I like that. And just Max Strike into the Cinderace. It's just, if I want to play a little risky, I could Protect here. Protect is actually really interesting. Like, what are the odds my opponent high jump kicks onto Porygon turn 1, right? I'm going to play a little risky here, because I can see Cinderace maxing and Steel Spiking as well. So, like, if we were to get the Max Strike off, I guess the Steel Spike is the problem here if you actually end up going for Steel Spike. They're not going to max, though, which indicates to me I think they're going for high jump kick, which is very scary. It's either that. I guess the Cinderace could bounce, which is actually really interesting. That is one of the ways you could get around Porygon Z, and we actually saw that in the Players' Cup in the second week. So that would be really cool. I wonder if Kiss is maxing here then. Yeah. Okay. That's a really nice play. Now, the question is, who does Cinderace target? Because right now I'm assuming it's high jump kicking into the Porygon, but if not, and it's targeting Cinderace, sorry, the Clef, then we're actually in great shape still, I would say. So let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have just gone for the safe follow me. Pyro Ball. Okay, into Clefairy. Never mind, we're okay. That was kind of risky, but I was like, the odds of high jump kicking there I think are relatively slim from my opponent's end. Okay, nice. So we just get a knockout immediately. That's good. We also get a speed drop on Togekiss, and because we're faster, this is great because now I can just go for like Helping Hand, Max Strike the subsequent turn. See if it's Airstream coming out. I would think Flare. Oh, okay. Into Clef. Nice. Yeah, that's why the turn 1 Protect on Clefairy is such a strong option often, because like it's always threatening follow me, so if you can call turn 1 correctly, it's just so huge. Of course, if my opponent just went for like high jump kick Airstream into Porygon, we'd be in a lot more trouble right now. Surprised to see the Flare there actually, but I guess one thing they were considering was like setting up the Sun for Cinderace in the subsequent turn, so that Pyro Ball stronger. Snorlax comes out, okay. That's not very scary. With Rotom and Urshifu in the back, Snorlax not really being a major threat, I think we can honestly just Max Strike into the Togekiss. I wonder if Helping Hand Max Strike's actually enough to knock out. I don't think so. So Max Strike follow me is pretty safe here. I don't see any reason to not play it safe here because we're going to be faster, right? Like, Max Strike, that's why Max Strike is such a strong option. Because it's great speed control too, and it's just one of the strongest attacks damage-wise. So it's like, I don't think Helping Hand Max Strike even KOs there, so I'd rather not risk it. Yeah, it's not KOing there. So like what this accomplishes is just that we ensure that we get one last really powerful max move off with the Porygon, and we basically sacrifice the Clefairy. I don't even know if Clefairy goes down here actually. So it's Starfall coming out. Yeah, this thing is so bulky. Okay, very nice. See if Snorlax can finish it off. Even if it does, like, we just get Urshifu in now, and I can just Max Strike Togekiss. Oh, it's actually Belly Drum. Okay. That's pretty cool. However, they don't have the berry. Or they did not EV train the Snorlax properly, because you normally want it so that it's at an even number, so that you get your berry activated. Just double checking. Okay, I mean, what's like really scary here? Like, is Togekiss really a threat? We have Rotom in the back. I think just Max Striking Snorlax and follow me here is fine. It should be a KO onto the Snorlax. Yes, if their berry didn't activate, I would have gone for Helping Hand here, but because it didn't, like, I think this is just super safe. And like, Togekiss is so slow because it never Airstreams, so Rotom will just outspeed it. I mean, it's at -3 speed now. Yeah. This is why I thought like Porygon just in Team Preview looks so good, and that's exactly one of the reasons why this is such a strong Pokemon right now. Just another Starfall. I don't know why they're not going for Airstreams, honestly, because like with Airstreams, at least you get to boost up your speed back to a little bit higher, right? They finally get a crit there, so it's probably, I mean, it's off, like, it should be offensive crit kiss, but like, it's at -3 speed now, so Rotom should just outspeed it. I guess, actually, one thing my opponent may have been doing was setting up the Sun for Charizard in the back. That would make a lot of sense, actually. But it's comfy. Okay. Well, that should just be game then. Comfy can heal the Togekiss, but Hyper Beam's just gonna wreck that. I'm also thinking of potentially just doubling up onto Comfy here. I mean, we could also just Hyper Beam into Comfy and Thunderbolt here. Yeah, that seems okay. The scary thing is that our strongest attacks in Overheat... Okay, they're just gonna go Floral Healing, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, Togekiss is walled really hard by Rotom. It's actually one of the reasons why Rotom was one of my favorite early metagame Pokemon. And Hyper Beam connects, beautiful. It's definitely one of the coolest animations in the game. And it's not Focus Sash, perfect. Okay, so that should just be game. I think the one fear there is if Togekiss has Protect and then you Protect Trick Room. Which is why I was thinking of doubling up into the Comfy there. Because Porygon's faster, I actually think the correct play is to double up in. Oh, okay, it's not Crit Kiss, it's Weakness Policy. Interesting. But it's not really a problem considering we have Rotom. Even though this Rotom has no bulk, like, yeah, it's not even a 2-hit KO. Nice. So I think my opponent should have gone for Airstreams earlier, honestly, instead of Starfalls, because, like, the terrain doesn't really provide any extra value for you in this game, I think. The Max Flare turn 1 was also kind of surprising. But, yeah, like... My turn 1 was a little bit risky, but with Porygon, if you call, like, the first turn correctly, or the first, like, if you basically actually get the most out of your max, it's so hard to lose because you just do so much damage. That being said, you're often making, like, aggressive plays that maybe aren't, like, super, super safe, but, yeah, if you high jump kick in front of a Clefairy there with Clef Porygon, like, props to you, that's just a really, really hard call-out play. So, I felt relatively safe doing that. Just when they didn't max, I was like, oh no, but it ended up being okay. This feels like an early meta team with Durant, honestly, but a lot of bulk. Kind of reminds me of, like, Binjia Wang's team from Dallas, where he got second with the Whimsicott, Durant, and the Chandelure. I haven't seen Durant in a minute. That Pokemon's actually very bad to go up against for us, I think. That is a major threat. I think we go Incineroar, Porygon. They're really bulky, aren't they? I want the Urshifu here for the Snorlax and the Chandelure. Rillaboom actually does pretty good damage. I don't feel that comfortable with Rotom. Clefairy works as redirection support solely to support or protect us from Durant for like a turn. Rillaboom's damage is really good here though. Let's try Rillaboom. Even if it's not the correct call, I always like when I start playing with the new team, I think just trying out all the Pokemon to get a feel of how they operate, like, relative to how the team is built, I think is really valuable. So, yeah, let's give it a try. I think you could definitely make a good argument for Clefairy in this one, but it does get kind of dunked on by the Durant, which is why I'm a little bit more weary of bringing it. So, it looks like it's going to be Whimsicott Lapras. Okay. That's okay. I mean, Incineroar's not in a great spot, but I could obviously fake out Max Strike the Whimsicott turn 1. However, my opponent could just switch Whimsicott out into Chandelure turn 1, which is actually a very big possibility. So, this is tricky. The safe play for me is to fake out the Whimsicott and then like Max Strike probably into the Lapras. I don't think Whimsicott ever stays in here. I think it really should switch out. So one interesting play I could make is to go for just a U-turn onto the Lapras and Max Strike it, expecting the Whimsicott to switch out. Or Protect, because I could totally see Whimsicott protecting here too. Yep, okay, there's a switch. Is it Chandelure? Think so? Nice. Could I have gone for Max Darkness there? That might have been nicer. If I Max Darkness there, I do get the Spadef drop on the Lapras, but if Chandelure isn't sashed, it gives my opponent a free switch and back into Whimsicott. I'm also curious on the items here, but conserving Incineroar is actually really valuable to beat Chandelure and Whimsicott, because it kind of walls both of those. Okay, so Lapras is maxing. Now, I'm expecting a Resonance into the Porygon, but it could also just be a Geyser into either. However, I think switching in Rillaboom here is fine. Because Could also just go out into Urshifu. Okay, let's see how much this Max Strike does. If it does like enough where another Max Strike KOs even with Resonance, then I think we probably go out into Urshifu. Yeah, I could have gone... No, I need a Strike here so let Incineroar outspeeds. Oh, that is really good damage. Okay. We get the speed drop immediately, so dynamic speed means we get to swap out now. Nice. Okay, a little bit of chip. I honestly, yeah, I'm pretty sure another one KOs here, so... the only problem is if they just Geysered into Incineroar, they should Resonance turn 1 here. So I think like going out into Urshifu is fine, because then I can just strike Surging, yeah, Max Strike and Surging Strikes the subsequent turn. Yep, there's Resonance. Show me into Porygon. Perfect. That was very good for us turn 1. It's a lot of damage there, but that's fine. The only question here is whether I want to predict Lapras to protect and double up onto Chandelure. Because I definitely want to Surging Strikes into Chandelure right now. I think Surging Strikes and just Strike here is fine. Even if you protect, I KO the Chandelure and then what you switch into... Oh, they don't even protect. Even better. Okay. Hope this is a knockout even through screens now. Yeah, perfect. This is Porygon Z, baby. Just don't get caught by the Ghost Switch-ins and you are golden. Alright, so now you get Surging Strikes off as well. They have screens up, but we have one more turn of Porygon. So once again, if you get all 3 Max Strikes off of Porygon, you are in such a good position. So it's often just predicting turn 1 correctly. Okay. First one. That by itself does 60. So, nice. Okay, so now there's Whimsicott in the back for my opponent and one last Pokemon. Whimsicott itself is not a big threat, and they don't have Dynamax anymore. I have Intimidate Switch in and Dual Fake Out with Rillaboom and Incineroar, one more turn of Max, and the Focus Sash on Urshifu. So, when you add all that up, it equals pretty good stuff. Looks like Sylveon's the last one. Oh, that's actually kind of scary, I guess, but not really, right? Because we outspeed with the Urshifu. So, like... I mean, Porygon should survive like Tail and Hyper Voice. Like here, I think it's actually fine to just Surging Strikes into the Sylveon and Max Strike. And I'm going to Strike into the Whimsicott just because I could see Sylveon protecting, but I don't think Whimsicott ever protects here. Yeah, they just Tailwind. That's fine. Hyper Voice, I don't think KOs either here. Even if you KO the Porygon, I get a free switch into Rillaboom. It actually does KO Porygon. Wow, okay. That's pretty impressive. I didn't think it would KO, but whatever. I'm never switching out there, I don't think. That makes me think it's Choice Specs or Pixie Play, but Porygon is also not very bulky, so I don't know if I should actually be that surprised by that. But with Incineroar and Rillaboom in the back, I feel pretty good. Yeah, Surging Strikes being able to crit is just so valuable for us here. I think this just is a knockout. Okay, not a knockout, but I have Aqua Jet, so... Yeah, let's just bring out Incineroar here. The Urshifu was so good in this matchup offensively. I'm surprised Durant didn't come out, though. I actually thought Durant was the biggest threat to our team. So, we take those. I'm content just going for a Fake Out into Whimsicott, Aqua Jet into the Sylveon, and with Rillaboom in the back, and Whimsicott basically does nothing. So, yeah. Like, you know, turn 1 is relatively safe. The only way that doesn't work is if they, like, fake Tears, or sorry... Even if you fake Tears Geyser, we'd still get the strike off, but the game would be substantially harder, I guess. Although I think we could actually win with Incineroar, Rillaboom, and an Urshifu. Yeah, nice. So, now we can just Detect and Flare Blitz. Perfect. Yeah, so I think the scariest thing is when, like, the switch out to the Ghost type isn't super obvious. Because I think on the turn 1, because I led Fake Out, like, Whimsicott switching out there makes, you know, a lot of sense, obviously. But in matchups, for example, if you're up against, like, a Dragapult potentially in the back. Oh, wow, that is... I forgot screens are up. Yeah, I was going to say, that's pretty impressive that it survived there. But it wears off now. I don't think Aqua Jet actually picks up the KO here, so let's find out. If you're leading Porygon, basically, once again, it's all about just getting the most out of your 3 turns of Dynamax. I keep repeating it, but it really is true because a lot of other, as you've seen, a lot of people, and one way you can win in this format is to stall out your opponent's Dynamax, and then basically clean up the game after. However, that's often very difficult to do when you're going up against Porygon Z. What Porygon Z often does is basically force the opponent to max immediately, Because if you don't, basically it's going to get a one-hit KO unless you have a Ghost type or a Steel type in the back. So, it's all about the defensive switches, and if you can commit your opponent to maxing, as we've been able to do. Now, this is interesting. It's a comfy team. T-Tar Excadrill is pretty scary here, I will say. And there is a Steel type in Excadrill, and what Excadrill can do is if you lead Tyranitar Excadrill, you can just Max Quake to get special defense boosts as well. So, that is pretty scary. Tyranitar Excadrill actually is a pretty big problem as a lead because Porygon's Max Strikes, like both of those resist, right? So if I'm worried about that, I could go like Incineroar, Rillaboom. Or just Incineroar, Urshifu. However, Urshifu really doesn't want to go up against Togekiss or even Goodra potentially. I still want to. This might be a game where we max like Porygon in the late game. I don't think we bring the Rotom. The Rotom only, I guess it kind of helps against Excadrill, but we don't have much bulk. So I like Incineroar, Urshifu, Porygon here. And then it's between Rillaboom and Clef. Clef provides redirection support, which is always valuable. But there's Steel Spikes potentially coming out from my opponent. Now Rillaboom does a lot of damage into T-Tar Exca, so I think, and Rotom, which I don't think comes out here, but I think I like Rillaboom more just for the offense here. Clef is often best paired, I would say, with the Porygon Z, but since I'm not leading it here, it feels kind of weird to have it in the back. And of course, because it's like not an offensive threat at all, you really need to get a lot of mileage out of the Friend Guard plus the Follow Me's. And if I'm not leading it, I feel like it's a little harder to force, to be in a position that I want to really like pressure with damage. Togekiss Excadrill. Okay. This isn't great, honestly, because of Togekiss. Togekiss could even Dynamax here immediately, and that actually would be a really big problem considering who I brought in this game. I think Max Togekiss played well, gives this team some trouble. If I'm my opponent, honestly, I'm just Dynamaxing and Airstreaming into the Urshifu. However, that's actually not a major problem, I think. They could also like Follow Me Swords Dance. You could just max Excadrill here as well. Excadrill honestly scares me the most out of my opponent's team, so like, I kind of want to just Flare Blitz close combat it here. Actually, Surging Strikes is smarter because it covers the Follow Me option. Unless Tyranitar switches in here. Okay. So I think Togekiss maxes, but if you max and target into Urshifu, it's actually not bad. Yeah, that's actually fine. However, I would have liked to chip at the Porygon here a little bit, so like a double up. Actually, close combat does cover the Goodra option, so that ends up being okay. U-turn might have been better there. Excadrill in the back isn't scary, but the main thing here is that my Porygon is going to take a kind of a whooping. Because now Togekiss will outspeed us. So this is the one downside of not leading Porygon, right? That is a lot of damage with close combat. I actually don't think I want to knock out Goodra here, because then my opponent gets a free switch in. Yeah, so there's Airstream into Urshifu, yeah. I did not have a defensive switch there, so I think I always have to attack with Urshifu turn 1. So this would have been a reason to bring Clefairy. If I had Clefairy Porygon, then what I pivot myself into is just like try to double switch. But maybe this isn't too bad. Let's see how much Flare Blitz does here. I don't want it to KO. Ah, we KO. That's bad. Because now my opponent gets a free switch in, you probably just go out into the Excadrill. And then the question is, does Excadrill have Swords Dance? Because what we do, basically what we play to right now is stalling out our opponent's Dynamax. Now I've got Aqua Jet, so I can just get a huge Aqua Jet onto Excadrill before fainting with the Urshifu. And I think we probably want to switch the Incineroar out and go into Rillaboom, because Intimidate's really valuable. Yeah. This actually maybe isn't terrible. Depends on if Excadrill has like Swords Dance. Even if it does, maybe that's not too much of a problem. My one fear is like my opponent might go for like Airstream into the Incineroar and Earthquake here, if you have Earthquake. So by switching in Rillaboom, I do risk a potential double knockout this turn. I think it's hard to not come out. Like, there's no great defensive switch here though, right? Because I didn't bring any defensive Pokemon. So the big question is, do you have Swords Dance? And then do you go for the... Oh yeah, Excadrill protects, but this is one thing people often forget. You can't protect in front of Urshifu. This is just a free Aqua Jet now through the protect, which is so nice. It should be in Glide KO range, honestly. There's another Airstream. Perfect. Wow, that was such a good turn then. That is so good. My only fear is getting crit with the Porygon against the Togekiss. But I have a safe play of just going out into Porygon and then glide into Excadrill, strike into the Togekiss. It's just that a crit would be bad. I think we can go for that, though. Yeah. I think it's our best play here. You know, Trick Room was actually an option in this game. If I led Clef Porygon, follow me Trick Room? I don't like that too much. I honestly think for how the matchup's going, I've done what I could, but don't know if my Pokemon choice selection was the best here. That being said, I'm very glad I have Rillaboom right now. Okay, so I think Tyranitar switches in here, which is fine. Yeah, I guess that's also interesting here as from the Togekiss perspective, is do you target Porygon or do you target Rillaboom? Because Rillaboom cleans up your Tyranitar and your Excadrill right now. Another play I could have made was Max Guard Porygon, switch Rillaboom out into Incineroar. Because that would get the Intimidate off. And then I have Fake Out the next turn. I actually think that might have been the better play. Because now, like, I risk getting crit and then Porygon, like, Togekiss might outspeed me. Will outspeed me in the subsequent turn because it's already gone for 2 Airstreams. Still, I mean, Glide does a ton of damage here. That is a 1-hit KO. That was a crit. I think that crit mattered because we're Assault Vest. So that was very fortunate. We'll see if we actually needed it, depending on who Togekiss targeted. Yeah, they targeted the... Oh, wow. We survive. Okay, so that wasn't a crit, right? Yeah. Yeah, so because Rillaboom got targeted, I don't know. I mean, like, Max Strike here would have done a ton of damage. It's a 2-hit KO onto the Togekiss. I think we might have been fine even without the crit, but it's hard to say for sure right now. If we don't, basically, if we don't get the crit there, I get an Incineroar, and then the next turn I can just Fake Out Max Strike, right? Like, and I think Porygon maybe just cleans up, but now we're in a very commanding position. Yeah, I don't think I had a guaranteed win though, so like that crit just accelerates the process. So it's definitely pretty fortunate that we got it. Okay. I think now we just Fake Out Max Strike. Fake Out into Excadrill I think is better, just because a Flare Blitz should KO the Togekiss at this point. I have to potentially respect either of these Pokemon using Protect right now as well. But I think Togekiss is less likely to carry Protect. Even if it protects here, Max Strike plus Sand might just be enough for a knockout anyway. So I think Fake Out Excadrill, Max Strike into Togekiss is fine. Yeah, if we don't get that crit, let's see. I bring in Incineroar. The subsequent turn, I just Fake Out Max Strike. I probably Fake Out the Tyranitar, Max Strike the Togekiss. And then the thing is, I don't get the Intimidate off against Excadrill. But I think that's fine. Once again, it's just important to evaluate whether the RNG you get actually mattered or not, because it helps you figure out whether you made the best play or not. But regardless, I don't think I would have changed my play. It's just a matter of where we would have been if we didn't get it. Because the Tyranitar definitely would have been in KO range from a Max Strike or a Max Darkness anyway. Plus, I had Fake Out Pressure. But then it's like what my opponent could do is basically stall out my Dynamax and potentially sweep me with Excadrill because I don't get the Intimidate off against it. Yeah, so now we can just strike into the Excadrill. I don't think my opponent actually has any way out of this because if you have Earthquake and you double crit, I think that's the only way. Because Porygon's going to survive any attack from the Excadrill. The strike basically brings you down to -2. So combine that with the Sand, and then we outspeed. Yeah, they're just going to go for high horsepower. And Instant takes that. Nice. Clutch survival. It's cool seeing a Rillaboom survive a Max Airstream from Crit Kiss, though. Obviously, the Togekiss did not get the crit, but it was a very offensive Togekiss. So, yeah, kind of a tricky matchup. I think, like, Togekiss is a really scary threat, so I'm actually kind of glad we had Urshifu in the beginning for it, because... Like, I think also my opponent protecting Excadrill was big here, right? If they just went for an attack there. I guess they didn't have Earthquake, because what I was thinking is if they have Earthquake and they Earthquake Airstream into the Incineroar switch out, we're just screwed. Like, that's super, super bad for us. Alright, Urshifu's been really good for us today, honestly. And yeah, getting the Aqua Jet off alone was really valuable. Took Tokios did end up having Protect there in the end, but Strike I think was a pretty much guaranteed win con anyway. Policy Tyranitar, so AV Gudra, and yeah, the Beery Comfy. Cool to see a lot of Comfies pop out though. So yeah, I was saying we should have gone for Surging Strikes, but no, Close Combat actually ended up being the right play. I guess Togekiss in that position is not going to follow me most of the time, like you're probably going to Dynamax. Just because Max Kiss is really good against this team as well. Oh boy, Terracotta. Okay. This is where Rotom could be huge, because it counters the first 3 Pokemon completely by itself. It's just a question of what I actually want to lead with, though, because Whimsicott Terrakion is still pretty scary, so like I might just go Clefairy to redirect. And like if I lead Clefairy Rotom, you can still Rock Slide me, which is pretty scary. This is a tricky one, because you could really make an argument for all of the Pokemon in this matchup, I think. What's also scary is the threat of Dazzling Gleam Whimsicott. If it's not Dazzling Gleam, Urshifu is pretty good against the Terrakion stuff, but if it is, meh. Alright, I'm gonna go Clef Porygon. I think Rotom is a pretty good here. I don't even know if we actually need it, to be honest, because Sun itself doesn't scare me that much. Because a single Max Strike dunks on all of Sun. It's just weird because it feels like this is the matchup for Rotom, but like I don't think we need it, honestly. Like I'm thinking just the Urshifu and the Rillaboom, because what the Rillaboom allows us to do is glide. Incineroar is pretty valuable here too. It's just fast glide here is nice. But I guess we have the Aqua Jet from the Urshifu, so I'm gonna go Incineroar. I don't know, I think in a best of 3, this is like totally an example where it's like, I could totally see Sun coming out, me having trouble against it, and being like, oh, I needed to bring Rotom. So, I'm not bringing it this time around, because I actually don't think we necessarily need it, but I think it does hold a lot of value, potentially, here, against this team composition. Yeah, it's Venusaur Torkoal. So, like, Rotom as a lead here would have been sick, but, like, this is still okay, I think, right? Because, like, turn 1, I can just Max Strike. Maybe I should have brought Rotom. Follow Me here is really safe, right? They could also switch out. Max Strike will bring Venusaur down to a Sash, but Torkoal is scary. I think like there's most likely going to be Sashed. Venusaurs don't even carry Protect most of the time, so I don't know. I think I'm content just going for Follow Me Max Strike, because if you KO the... Okay, Venusaur's not maxing, which makes me think it's Sleep Powdering. So yeah, I mean, this is what I mean, right? Like, if I led Clefairy Rotom, I could have just gone Nasty Plot, Protect turn 1, and then Dynamax Rotom and probably sweep with Rotom. But if I lead Clef Rotom, Terrakion just wrecks us. Like, this lead still gives us options, right? That's why it's like, you might not have the best lead, but it's good to have a lead that at least, like, you can trade positively with. Okay, so Venusaur not maxing is interesting. Yeah, they offer the Sleep Powder, actually. Okay. It's actually raining really hard right now, so if you guys can hear that, I apologize. I was not expecting it to rain today. Jeez. Okay. Are you Sashed? Yeah. This is tricky because they could just Sleep Powder into Porygon next turn, so I have to kind of sack the Clefairy. Unless Clefairy faints here, but I don't think it does. Yeah, it's just Heat Wave. Okay. So unfortunately, I think I have to protect the Porygon here and sack the Clefairy, because then I get a free switch in, and then I can go Fake Out into Venusaur and Max Strike into Torkoal. It's just not ideal. So yeah, Rotom could have been really good here, especially because I don't think people often expect the safety goggles on it. But this lead gave us options, you know, so I think it's fine. It's just spending one of Porygon. Like, ideally with Porygon, you want to attack all 3 turns, right? Alright, I hope Torkoal doesn't miss here. Okay, so that's another turn of sleep. Heat Wave. Coming out. Okay. So now what we can do is go into Incineroar. Actually, Urshifu is better, I think, just because I want to conserve the potential Intimidate in the back. So I can just Aqua Jet. Actually, yeah, and it's also better because you can't protect with your Venusaur here. So Aqua Jet into that slot is really safe. The only downside is, I guess, the Tyranitar switch in, but I think Aqua Jet here and Max Strike into the Torkoal is fine. I'm hoping the rain isn't too loud right now. If so, I really deeply apologize. It just started while I was recording this last game. Yeah, that is really loud. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I imagine you can. Okay, Torkoal doesn't protect, so this is a double knockout this turn. What's scary, though, is the Charizard potentially in the back, I think. Because then Charizard can just max and just go for the G-Max attack. So another reason to have brought Rotom. But once again, I didn't feel super comfortable with Rotom considering my opponent's lead. Terrakion stuff. But I guess if you see Clef in team preview, you're probably not going to bring... you're not going to lead Terracotta, I don't think. Well, T-Tar's going to get dunked on right now by... oh, it's Terrakion. Wow. Okay, this is not bad then, I think. Okay, it's not bad, but it's also not great because I actually don't have good damage output anymore. Like, it's all basically down to the Urshifu. And I can only knock out one of two Pokemon here, so it's like, does Terrakion max? I could see Terrakion maxing and then going for a Knuckle. But Terrakion outspeeds us. If you Knuckle, that's actually fine. I think we close combat into Tyranitar here, get the guaranteed knockout onto that slot, and switch into Incineroar. The only problem is I'm not going to win against Terrakion 2v1 with Incineroar and Porygon. So instead what I have to do is knock out Tyranitar this turn, force it to be a 3v1, and then wait until Terrakion's max ends and get an Aqua Jet off against... it's still not powerful enough, though. I don't know, maybe Surging Strikes into Terrakion is the call there, but I don't think it's a knockout either, so, like, it's tough. I think Terrakion might sweep us right now, unfortunately. Let's see. Unless, like, Tyranitar maxes for some reason, in which I would think close combat is a one-hit KO here still, but let's see. Fun episode today for sure. And this is why I didn't want to bring Rotom, right? They maxed Tyranitar. That actually might be the correct play. Because you don't want to max Knuckle here, but... Oh, you know what would be a really good play if... well, I was going to say if they protect Max Guard here, but then I can just fake out close combat next turn. Oh, God. No. Please, no. If we don't flinch, we win. Unless this isn't a one-hit KO. Wow, okay. Urshifu's so good, dude. I am surprised they maxed the Tyranitar in front of the Urshifu, honestly. Like, that's why. Maybe their win con was literally to just go for a flinch and then you knuckle into the Urshifu. But we take those. I thought Terrakion maxing would have been scarier, but now I could... There's no way around this. I could just fake out Surging Strikes. You can't protect from Urshifu, so once again, this is the endgame positions you want to set yourself up for with Urshifu. Okay, there's the flinch. Beautiful. Yeah, I just was worried about the damage output against Terrakion in the late game if... Because I only have Urshifu for it, right? Like, Incineroar and Porygon don't do anything to it maxed. Because you also have the Sandstorm special defense boost. So, and, like, you have super effective attacks against everything. So, I thought that was very scary, but... Yeah, in the end, I thought, I don't know, Rotom definitely could have been good, but once again, it's not super consistent, and it works very well against my opponent's lead specifically, but it gets dunked on by the T-Tar and the Tyranitar, sorry, T-Tar and the Terrakion on the back anyway, so I think Porygon Clef was fine in the end. We are lucky that the Torkoal didn't protect on the last turn, that was surprising. No Charizard in the back was good, and it was actually because it was Specs. Sash Venu, no protect on any of these Pokemon. Wow, literally protectless. There's Choice Band Terrakion, wow. Interesting. Okay, that is going to be it for this one. I don't want to spend too much more time talking because I don't want the rain to disturb it too much. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today. Thanks to Fevzi for the team. Check them out, linked in the description below. Feel free to try out the team yourselves. As always, if you guys enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like. Don't forget to answer that question today about your thoughts on Urshifu. And thanks so much for watching, guys, and thank you once again for making it to over 200 episodes of Road to Rank. Very much appreciate all the support. And, yeah. Just really means the world to me that you guys keep watching the content. So, thank you guys so much, and, yeah, take care. All right. Peace.